What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show with me, Sean Sheehan, here on Sherdog.com. And I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by the 2023 light heavyweight PFL champion, one of the most active fighters in all of mixed martial arts, fighting for the championship again on November 29th in 2024, and the biggest fan of Triumph motorcycles in the world, Impa Kasanganay. Impa, how are you today, my friend?
Oh man, I'm great. How you doing?
I'm good. The last time I spoke to you, you were in the middle of a highway, on the way home from a fight, with some motorcycles on the back of a van, traveling across the country. And ever since, I've been wondering how that trip went and how further trips went, because you were talking about doing more trips. What's like? We forget about mixed martial arts for a second. What's the trip life been like for the last few months?
Oh man, it's going great and it's only picking up. It was all the way from Vegas to South Florida. It was a lot of fun. Crossing through Texas, which had pretty much nothing in it, from West Texas all the way to East Texas, New Mexico. And then now planning for another fun trip, DC. So when we get back from Riyadh, DC, all the way down to Georgia again, but really capturing it, camping along the way, just a lot of fun stuff. We're going to go to Washington, D.C., to the Outer Banks, which are like the beach side of North Carolina. From that part, we're going to go to a military base. From the military base, we'll go to Charlotte, North Carolina. My family lives, Charlotte, North Carolina, to Atlanta, Georgia. And then I'll plan on PFL Europe, but I would like to ride around there too when the championship, like probably from Paris to Lyon. But yeah, I love Triumph. We're doing some more. I actually created our first motorcycle film, so I'm pretty stoked about that. We'll be releasing that soon into the Von of Motorcycle Film Festival, but you'll see some really cool parts about the adventures. Next year, plan to have Tshilobo's Trek retreats, so people can join in, then go on these rides everywhere from, we think, Colorado. We want to go to Vietnam, all over the world, and people in the riders and moto enthusiasts, whether you're in an off-road vehicle, right, like an overland type rig, to a awesome motorcycle. It doesn't matter, right? We'll just find your way and just join us for great communities and time just to share thoughts and just be around something that we love. I have some really cool plans. Like one day I would love to ride through every single country in Africa. Along the way, surf the 10 deadliest waves. Like we're knocking things off the list, and hopefully the next ride will be in Argentina. So that'd be really cool. So after the championship, but I love Triumph. I love what's been going on. I'm loving that we're growing together.
I talk to some fighters, and you often probably see this as well, and it's almost like life comes secondary to the fighting. And I'm not saying that fighting comes secondary to life for you, but like, you know, you live life to the full. And is that something like, you know, that helps you with your fighting as well? That there is, it's not necessarily that it's not the be all and end all, but you use all 24 hours in the day.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I think we mess up as people sometimes. We just make our work the only thing that we do, right? I think it should be not this or that. It's this and that. Like make the most of this life. You're gonna fail in life for sure. You have moments where you fail in anything, right? But it's like, the people always have something to say. But I think it's like when you have a vision or doing multiple things to make it happen for your future family, your time right now, then you have the right people around you. They can make a lot of great things happen. Those are the ones that they talk about. Those are the ones that you see later on in life. The Musk, the Bezos, the whoever in the world, the Steve McQueens, right? Like, they're doing some really cool things. And I think that, why not me, right? Why not me? Like, I love it. Like, I think part of my work is me living my life, right? And the people you get to meet along the way, and you never know what opportunities you're going to have. I think when we add stress to fighting and things like that, that's unnecessary, because it becomes the end all be all, like you said. And you should realize, like, God made you a lot more complex than that. So for me, it's, how do I live this life? I train every day. I train relentlessly. I train with intensity. I train with focus and discipline. But I also want to live my life that way. And when that clicks in other areas and other endeavors, then I realize that nothing can stop you. And that's how I want to live this life. I want to live this life where I'm enjoying it every day. And I also think too, like, fighting, right? You do it as a career. You're sacrificing health points, life points, right? Maybe the longevity of your life. Live it to the fullest, because you're not promised every single day. So I don't want it to be something where you create so much stress. Like you go fight, you hate it. You go training, it's terrible. You come back this, and it's just like the worst days are the worst days. So like now, if you don't like to fight, if you like to train, but you're doing this just for the money, then you take away the joy out of it. For me, it's make a lot of money doing it, but also make the most out of this life because you shouldn't do something every single day if it's just tearing away at you over and over and over. And when I get to live life, go surf, go read, or travel, or jump out of a plane, or whatever case may be, like I'm just living the life that God called me to live, and like I'm at peace.
That kind of nomadic lifestyle is something that, you know, the people who are in it love it. I'm often watching like documentaries and stuff about people like that, and it's, you know, it's inspiring in a way, but also like for a professional athlete, like we, you know, all professional athletes are like seemingly very set. You know, you get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, you train at 10, you have your lunch at 1, you train again. For you, and you know, you obviously you say you train every day, but is that tougher to do? Do you find places on the road to train, or do you bring someone with you? What way do you kind of get your training in when you're on those sort of trips?
I mean, so a lot of times too, like post fight, like I do get time like where I don't, like I'm not in the gym, but I also get that when I do trips while I'm in camp or training, like I just schedule on the weekend. I wake up earlier, do it before. Like sometimes I'll go surf before training or after. We'll plan out a cool trip for, let's say it's PFL Europe and I'm going to train at a gym. I'll get my training earlier and I still have 24 hours in the day. I'll eat while I'm on the road. I'll maybe not eat. I'm not a big eater anyway, but I'll I'll squeeze it all in. And if it doesn't happen today, we'll put it for tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, the next week, they'll be ready in a few months. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just believing that you're able to do it because I have 5 fights in a year. I'm still able to get all this done. I still train like I was in Baltimore, Maryland, and then I did a ride with Call of Duty. Like they did the Call of Duty release, and I got to ride the motorcycles in their convoy. That was a lot of fun, but I just did it after training. You know, and then I trained again that night. So just making the most of the day, living it to the fullest. And for me, being on a bike is like recovery. I just sit, think, clear my mind, and I go.
What about your studies? And obviously, there was, you know, you were going to Harvard. There was a lot of talk about that. Does that all fit in? And how did that go?
Yeah, so that's finished. I mean, next thing is for me is my focus to get my MBA. I mean, I'm doing it like keep raising the standard. I would say like at my gym at this refinery, how long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself? That's in school, that's in life, that's in business, that's in training. Like, how do you keep packing it on? Because I don't want to see these kids at the gym just think the only option is to be a fighter. So next for me will probably be a mix of virtual school and in classroom because I think it's cool when you connect with people, right? When you're sitting there, like if you and I were sitting across from the room right now, we'd be maybe just laughing, feeling each other's energy. But it's also great when you can have this moment too and this connection with a professional like you. I mean, I live right next to the University of Miami. I've worked in college businesses in Pennsylvania, and I think I'll probably start maybe it'd be cool to start early next year or springtime, right? And depending on like the fight schedule, but just organizing it. And like I said, I have a great team around me. Of course, you know Joanna, you know everybody else, but they help me like build other companies and run other things that are, you know, that are soon to do great work. So um, you got to see where you want to be and live as if you're there now to a degree, like by setting yourself up with the skill set, the knowledge, and people who are willing to teach and just ability to learn. Do I always get time to myself? No, but I know on the back end, right, that one day it'll all come full circle and I'll be able to always run my schedule. So I know like, okay, man, hey, I had sparring day training, but we're gonna do this right. We're gonna capture this on film. That's a little seed planted. That one day I get to work with Triumph. Like Tshilobo's trek and Commit to the Adventure started with me on a phone. And I broke the back camera, so I would just record everything with the motorcycle from the front camera. I would ride through Wales and just put the front camera, and then before you know, you have a media team, and now you have this, and you have your first moto film, right? It's just stacking wins every single day. And see, it'd be really excited for us to come in 2025. But how I do it is just I believe that I can. I go make it happen.
You talk about it coming full circle, but it feels like it's already come full circle, to be honest. Because I listened to the video, or sorry, watched the video that you put up in the last couple of days, and you talked about living on your cousin's floor when you were young. You know, and you said kind of like my life started off well, and then it kind of all turned at a time. For that to happen, and then for you to win a million, to be in Harvard, to be working, you know, with a dream company like you are, to be traveling the world, having plans to travel more of the world, to win even more money, to win more fights, to win more glory. It feels like you've already won. You know, do you ever take a time to like? And it feels like you're someone who does take the time to kind of sit back and think about that. But that must be incredible. You must be so proud of yourself to come from that place to where you are right now.
I'm grateful. I still have things to work on, man. Like I'm not like I'm proud of like the team to a degree. I'm proud of like my trainers and I have been able to do, but I know there's so much more to accomplish. Right? I got my teammates here. Like Aaron Jeffrey.
Yeah, yeah.
Say hi to Aaron, my bro. He's over there.
Hey, Aaron, how are you? How are you?
Trained hard this morning. Still coming to work with me. It's my guy. Got my little brother over here. Where is he at? So
Hello
you
there.
see, I have so many more things to do, and yeah, the days stack on each other for sure. But it's worth it to me. And like you said, yeah, I do take time to reflect, but I'm not satisfied yet, and I haven't hit like certain goals. Like I think these are all part of the goals and things I expect. But like I think that's my team. Like whether it's something that needs to be organized or financially, whatever the case may be. Like I want it to be like very profitable. I want it to be very fruitful. I want to have like more events and more retreats and just things that can impact the world in a positive way, but also have a lot of fun while we're doing it and earn a lot. So, we're on the path to get there, but I think it's like a drawing inspiration. Let's say it's from Apple or a company, right? Or SpaceX or whoever, right? Who's popular right now. They didn't stop when they got the first rocket off the platform. They didn't stop when they made the first iPod. They didn't stop when they made the first computer. They had their failures along the way, which I've had. They've had their great moments, and then they've had parts where things were just a frenzy, which I've had. I've been in. Some days it's still like that, right? But you're like, you're destined to make and create something great. So how do you continuously refine, right? And that's where I draw inspiration from. And I see those as challenges. I see those as my other opponents, right? Like, I look at like, okay, Apple, like, what do? They're here, Continental Tires. Or if you read about Johnson Johnson, you read about different companies and different like entrepreneurs in video, whatever. You're like, they went through this at this time in their career, or Starbucks was here, now look where they are. I'm not even like if you say you can't even see in the camera screen right like how far I want to go. I feel like I'm still right, not even right there. I've just cracked the door open and not even like stepped in yet. And that for me is how I'm. Well, while I am grateful for everything going on, I haven't even for what I see in the vision and what we're working towards. I haven't even touched it yet. So we're gonna keep pushing.
You talk about keep pushing. You kind of touched on it earlier about how busy you've been, even with the fights. You know, forget about all the rest of it. But it'd be unusual for one fighter at the top level like you're fighting for championships to fight 5 times in a year once. You're about to do it back to back, so 10 fights in 2 years. That's like literally unheard of. I think in modern mixed martial arts. Um, it's been very successful for you, right? Is it something, say, if you're looking forward to next year and the year after and the year after, it's something you want to continue to do, or is it, would you rather maybe cut it down to maybe 2 or 3 fights a year?
I mean, I know my trainers. We talk about it like, do I do the season again? I mean, sometimes like, who will you fight, right? Like last year was the Johnny Eblen fight. That'd be great again because it's the champs versus champs. But then you think about the guys like Francis Ngannou. That'd be awesome to fight. Like go up and wait. Those are the fights that I want. I want to fight. I know I respect Corey Anderson, right? Like there are fights like that, but like you fight the same guys again. Like where's the change in flavor, right? Like bring in better people, bring in better opponents, bring in people who are this or do crossover fights. Call out other organizations, like take out Pereira, take out John Jones, take out those guys. Let's see. Like people always want to talk about who the best of the best is. Like bring them over. The Stricklands of the world, the Dracus Duplessis. Like why not have crossover fights? Riyadh Season can do it. Riyadh Season can fund it because these organizations they want to make money, right? So let them do it. Just bring us over to Saudi Arabia again. They've done it with boxing, right? They took out that fee, right? And if you want to be the best, you want to see the best of the best fight, let's not just talk about it. Let's not just do it for show. Those are things that I want. So whether it's 5 fights again next year, there's 2 or 3 fights and doing the super fights, or it's uh, super fight, champs for champs, pay-per-view fights, whatever. I just want to fight the best of the best. And if it is the season, they bring in a whole new roster or people who are awesome. Because I don't want people to lose jobs either. So I'm saying that, but it's just like the fighters are better. Like I love it, right? Like I fought Josh twice already. I fight him a third time. Let's say he's the alternate for this fight or somebody. Like okay, like whoever. It's a blank canvas. I can only control what God allows me to. But I look at it like I want to fight the best, the best. I want to take out the best, the best. So if they can bring in guys like I got Francis, Henan, um, let's do it because I think that's a. I love fighting. I'd fight more than 5 times in a year if I was allowed to or able to. Uh, but my trainers, I know they want me to obviously think what's better for my life, my career, my health, and I'm very grateful I'm healthy. But who do you get to fight? And
Yeah.
what does that say for what you want to build? Right? Because organizations, they will just keep letting you fight. And it's great, you make money. But what's past that? What's past that? So that's my focus. So maybe it'll be Super Fight Series, maybe be this season if it's God's plan. But right now, my main focus is Dovletdzhan Yagshimuradov. I'm taking him out.
I just want to ask you about the Josh Silveira fight because with all you've kind of said there, because that's if people weren't paying attention to that fight and your previous fight, I think they might have failed to recognize that Joshua he's very young in the sport, and only has only been fighting at the top level for a couple of years, and the difference between his ability in the first fight and the second fight, I think, was a lot. And for you, for someone who'd already beaten him, to now have to kind of face him again and beat him again, and now he's actually like way better than he previously was, in my opinion. Anyway, maybe your opinion is different, but
I agree.
that
I agree.
that must have been so tough, like because it's almost a lose for you if you don't beat him as well as you beat him the first time, and you're going to look bad. And how tough mentally is that sort of? Because I always think about it, like especially like if you're like a champion or a challenger coming up, you beat the champion and then you have to beat him again. I always find the mentality around that, and obviously this is a bit of a different case, but was the mentality for you more difficult going into that fight, maybe unusually than it was for other fights?
No, I respect him always, right? We talked after the fight. I was like, man, I think he lost focus trying to get himself to whatever place he needed to get himself. If you just believe that he's really good, he had opportunities to really make the fight more difficult and make the fight this. I'm not saying he would have won. I know in my heart, I would say this number one, I claim victory, right? But he had opportunities in that fight where he could have capitalized, but it's like he didn't fully believe in himself in certain moments. I know he's fighting me. I know that we fought before. But for me, going in that fight, is I had one job. Could care less if it was Josh or anybody else. I just knew that at the end of the day, finishing my hands raised, and I stick through that. I was calm, like I was fine, like I was happy that okay, he wanted to come and fight, so he definitely improved a whole lot, like you said, um, with his skill set, with his wrestling, with all everything that he had. But I still think he could have done a lot better, and he could have done more. So I recognize that. I recognize that from before the fight even started, and I said I put my foot down, right, and I knew what I was there to do. So it didn't matter if he was 5x better, 10x better, infinity x better. I know I was gonna claim that victory, but I am proud that he's improved, and I was honored that that I got that bout.
I want to ask you about the Francis Ngannou fight because obviously you won last year and you called him out, and I suppose it was a bit shocking, I suppose, because considering Francis is obviously the big heavyweight and everything like that, and he hadn't come yet, and even now, like there's kind of talks of him going boxing again, maybe Deontay Wilder and everything, and I'm sure people listening to this, MMA fans, want to see the best MMA fighters fighting in MMA, and we'd love to see Francis back fighting. Is there anything you can do to entice him, to get him in, to actually have him to take that fight? And for you, why? A lot of people, would be scared of that fight. It'd be like, geez, I'm going up in weight classes. This is the biggest monster I've ever seen in the heavyweight division. What excites you about the Francis Ngannou fight? And do you think it's a possibility?
I believe it's a possibility. I mean, I keep winning, I keep doing what I'm doing and dominating and calling him out. Like he could see me as a little guy, could see me as, oh, he's a big monster. If he believes that, right? Then like, let's see. I'll slay that monster too, and I'll take his head off. I look at it like I respect him. I admire him. I know what he's done. He's a man with 2 hands, 2 feet, and that's what I want, right? He's in my organization, right? If it was another organization, I'm gonna call it the best one, right? It's not just about weight class. It's not just about um, his experience or what he's done. Like, you haven't fought me, right? You haven't fought somebody else, and I want to do something special. Like, I'm here to do something special, and I believe, and I know what I can do, and I know what I would do, and I know what I will do when that time comes. I speak that fight into existence. Um, and if it didn't happen, that was God's plan. But I know that you send that contract, I put my signature on that contract. I'll claim that victory, and I move forward. I'll never talk trash to him. I'll never put him down. I say, let's do the fight in Congo. They want to make the time in the PFL Africa. Let's do the fight in Cameroon or Nigeria, Lagos, whatever. And make that great fight and show what it's about. Let the two best warriors go at it. And when I take them out, I'm grateful. That's it. You know, it's not one of those things I'm like, how do I entice him? It's like I keep working, keep showing, and keep calling him out. And, you know, and if he's a fighter man that I know that he is, that I believe that he is, he'll accept. And they'll set it up.
So let's talk about the Yagshimuradov fight. Obviously, the one coming up here in a few days' time. You know, you spoke about having different names and different looks from different organizations. I suppose this is it. You know, he's obviously coming over from Bellator. He wasn't in the tournament last year. He's only had the 3 fights in the PFL. Obviously, the 3 this year. Is there something exciting about that for you? That there is kind of a new name, a guy you haven't met before, that even maybe wasn't even on the radar until this year?
For sure, yeah. You know, it's like a new hunt, right? Like you've caught all these different animals. You've had different and similar ones, but then you find, man, like this is the one you're gonna put on your wall, right? This is the one you hunt. You take them out and you put them on your wall. You're very grateful. Excellent fighter, right? A lot of experience, coached well, crafty, skilled, um, fights well, balanced. Those are the fights you want, the fights you pray for, right? And I get to just show what I already know about myself and my team and like what we've been putting the work in. That take this claim as victory. Like, it's a respect to him, right? And I'm proud of what he's done. And yeah, it excites me, but it also inspires me and it drives me even more than motivation. Like it challenges my discipline, and I'm very, very dialed in for this one.
When you're preparing for a guy like Yagshimuradov, it's funny because there's so much tape on him, and he's kind of changed as a fighter over the years. I suppose he has won fights and lost fights in a similar sort of way. If you get me, like sometimes he you know, he fought Corey Anderson, and Corey wrestled him an awful lot in that fight, but he's fought other wrestlers, and I suppose it hasn't been a problem, and maybe he's even used that against them to win the fight. When you're preparing for a guy like that, it, I maybe this is a bit of a juvenile question, but like, is there a set plan of how the fight's gonna go, or is it like, I'm just gonna I'm gonna fight what I meet in the cage on that Friday or Saturday night?
I think it's disrespectful if you don't plan, right? Like, I think it's disrespectful if you don't plan to a degree for the opponent that you're facing or the hunt that you're on, right? You're hunting in the safari, it's gonna be different than you hunting in the Arctic, right? And I look at it like that, like, there are always gonna be constants, discipline. There's always gonna be tools you bring, you know, techniques that you bring. You always better be respectful how you use it. And I think that's when people mess up. Like when fighters fight, like fighters that want to test something, want to do something. No, like, I have a plan. I have a focus. I have a great deal of respect for them. And I'm going to be consistent in my discipline in all facets of my art. So when I go into the fight, it's going to be one of those things where I recognize his patterns, break his patterns, I create new ones. I control it, and I move forward and claim that victory. I don't see it so much as a difficulty, but it's more of a challenge. And what I mean by that, I think difficult makes it hard. I think it's only as hard as you make it, right? At least in my position. And when I go in that fight, you'll see.
Impa, we're caught for time. I really appreciate the time today. Thank you very much, and best of luck in your fight against Yagshimuradov on November 29th over in the PFL finale. Thank you, Impa.
Thank you so much. Thanks again.